Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock on August 30th, 2023. You're listening to KNKR 96.1 FM Kohala. It's time for Intuitive Talk Story with
Michál Anna.
Oh, wait, I don't have your mic on right. Say it again.
Michál Anna.
Okay. Come on, I'm not hearing you.
Aloha.
Oh, there we go.
I am.
Yes.
Michál Anna here.
Michál Anna and
Aloha.
Eila. Yes, so
how are you today, Miss Eila?
you know, I had a massage. Someone gifted me a massage for my birthday. I went up to Waimea. It's a little tight time. I don't like to be like having to be and then go and then be and then go. So it wasn't as relaxing, but it was good for my body. I could feel release happening. And a lot going on, a lot of stuff coming up and emotions coming up and energy. Just what I'm loving about what's happening is emotions come up and I don't have a whole lot of story about it. It's like it may have been triggered by an event, but I'm not all attached to the event. It's more about, I need to look at this and then I need to let this go. And working through that process and being kind of excited because I know it's going to help me later. Even if I feel sad now, I'm going to feel better later. And I do. And then I feel my energy clear. And then I notice how people look at me or talk to me. It's like, oh, that was important that I did that. I get the reflection because it's hard to explain, but.
Well, I love what you're saying. I totally get it. And I don't know if you had a chance to listen to my update. Did you?
A little bit, not the whole thing.
Okay,
yeah.
well, I talk a little bit on there about this opportunity for the loop that we're in. We are actually replaying this big loop right now. And what we've been seeing happen here in Hawaii, which has been devastating and horrific. And obviously, all of our hearts and prayers continue to go out to the people of Maui and also to all of Hawaii in that to hold the protection for Hawaii. And however you feel about that, no matter what story we believe has happened here, what's important is that we really support and heal what has happened and prevent anything from happening ever again. You know, like really support our protection and our energies to see the new earth and everyone in safety and health and having what they need, and that we all uphold that. And one way we can do that is by really working through our own collective pain. We are projecting a reality. We say we're co-creators, right? Well, what does that mean? It means that I'm projecting a reality, you're projecting a reality, we're all projecting these realities, and then we're dealing with our inner turmoil really outside of ourselves because they're being projected out there. So, and it comes in through and it's a bigger picture, bigger, game, but just conceptually think of it that way, okay? So if I choose, as they say, the man in the mirror, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, I can only deal with myself. So if I'm willing to really move through my collective pain, that this loop of horror is really bringing up from the last fall that we had as a humanity, and this fall of Lemuria, which here we are, and that could really, many of us were here when that happened. Many of you have memories of those times collectively or in your deep soul being, and you don't necessarily know it. You might be feeling a lot of pain now and think, maybe you're not even that involved and think, why am I feeling so much pain? So some feelings that might be coming up are failure, abandonment, being understood, shock, disbelief, like confusion and disorientation. So because that's what it felt like then, it was shocking, and we felt abandoned by God, by all the things. We were stuck here. We've been in an enclosed system. That goes into a whole other thing, which we're not going to touch on today. But bottom line is we have this grand opportunity to heal the wounds of what these cycles we've been repeating. And Eila really spoke to it. It's not actually about a subject. It's about a root feeling that's been playing out through many stories. It's just the root. Oh, there it is again. I feel abandoned. Oh, there it is again. I'm a failure, right? It's maybe this story of Joe Blow, Susie Q, but the feeling is the same because that's the loop. The loop is actually the failure, that loop. So what we're really doing is going back to the root and getting to that place where you're drawing it down to the failure, or let's say, and then forgiving the self, forgiving anyone else and asking if I need to be forgiven from anyone else in order for me to set this free. Really ho'oponopono, which means to make right, in Hawaiian, to make right with oneself and another. We bring it into a zero because we bring everything into 0 point. No more energy on it. We have no more energy. We're not going here and going there. It's just done. Neutral, back to the light, to its rightful place. So that's the opportunity we have right now with all the pain that we've all kind of been through. We have this really opportunity to surrender. And I want to really remind us all that humility and surrender are really our key words here. It's real easy to jump in our ego and do a lot of things. So we have to just surrender and go, right, not of my will, but divine will. That too, okay, not of my will, but divine will. Oh, even that. Okay, I guess everything, right? Not of my will, but divine will. And let go of the story so that we can get to that root and you can actually go, right, because I am worthy. This was just a program that's been set in by a pain. And once I get my energy and I'm willing to look at that, we can release the programming. And now you're like, right, I don't have to run. Oh, I'm not good enough, and you're doing this, and someone's doing that. And you see what he did. You see what I did. You say the same stories when you're in some program. You'll kind of repeat them. So that's a good tell. And those don't have to run anymore because, well, I'm whole and I can claim my sovereignty and reclaim my parts back to me and heal.
You know, you said the word abandonment, and that was a little light bulb went over my head. Years ago, I was very close to someone who had been abandoned as a child or felt they were abandoned as a child. And I could see that play out in their life. You know, it's so easy to look at somebody else's life and say, well, that person would kind of put it on me like,
abandonment.
Yeah, or seeing it when it wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he really didn't work with his abandonment stuff. It didn't work with anything. He was worried that someday I would die, or and I wouldn't be there, and then he'd be alone again. This thing, and it was easy to see because it was somebody else's story, and it was like, well, if you work on that, that you probably wouldn't be pouring that over to me. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, that was in my life for a reason, and I've never considered that maybe there's some abandonment there for me in my, if not this life, another life. So sometimes it's easy to see what's going on in someone else's movie because, you're watching the movie. Yet we're watching it for a reason. So maybe there's something. What I love about just thinking about it that way is it takes the whole you and me out of it. It becomes a we. Everything's we. Right? I mean, everything's we.
I'm going to tell you.
There's nobody out there. Yeah, I know. I know, but
what that is but quite frank, what you're experiencing that revelation. It's a phrase until you experience it, and then you experience it again. Yeah. That's a phrase that you can experience a million times. Yeah. Because it deepens as you actually get that. Mm-hmm. Wow, it really is nobody out there. When you were talking, I was laughing because I don't know if you recall one time I said I finally have to look at myself when this angry person is in front of me. Why am I so angry? That there's still an angry person in front of me. Yeah. Like, what am I holding on to that this is still playing in front of my movie? Yeah. So that's what you're saying. You saw the abandonment and you're like, oh, the abandonment.
I never thought about it for all those years till this moment.
Now.
And I haven't interacted with him in 20-something years.
Popped in.
I just looked at that word and said, well, it's easy to say that was his issue or his life, but it was in my life too. So why?
Well, here's the other thing is that I myself have noticed look, after I went through an abusive situation, well, I could see everywhere where abuse was. Yeah. I could see it real clear. Like, I can see what's going on there. Oh, because I've been there. So, see, you saw it. So there's another tell. If you can see something really clearly in someone else, it's probably because you understand it. You've either experienced it, you've been there, you've done that already. That's why you can see it that way. Right. Because you understand it on some level. So that's you're like, oh, if I get that so clearly, I might need to look at myself. Like, how can I turn that light inside? And that's really the beauty of what we have the opportunity to do. And people get lost in judgment which is part of the ego and part of the lower, when we
Yeah, well,
are
that's the
feeling
blame game. Yeah,
right. And the judgment
absolutely.
is what keeps people from being able to really use this as fun tools.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a fun learning process if you can release the judgment piece and just go, gosh, we're all learning. We're all kids, and we're just all learning to remember who we are and what we've all been through, gosh, really difficult times on this earth thing. It's been pretty hard for everyone. So we have to all understand that and go, it's okay if I have asking questions, okay if I'm learning, it's okay. And just see ourselves as this grand opportunity and fun learning experience.
I want to say something about what you brought here today, because you've been doing something, and I'm going to read it, and then you could share about it. And it says, assist in the restoration of Maui and protection of the Hawaiian Islands through collective prayer. Please join us from wherever you are, 20 minutes every Wednesday and Friday, 12 o'clock Hawaii time, and then, of course, other times. Where two or more are gathered, it shall be done. A love call to action. And first of all, I want to thank you for putting this out and for stepping into that role and making yourself available to do that. And particularly because there's just a lot of noise out there about either blaming or why did this happen, and it's a lower vibration, and it doesn't help anybody to keep harping on those things, where this feels like this is creating the new world we want to be living in, where there's love and there's support and there's kindness.
Well, thank you. And I just want to put a shout out to Ihi and to Pamela. Pamela actually made
Pamela
this
made a
version.
beautiful version,
And
yes.
just really like the support of many people to activate call to prayer, call to action of creating the new tomorrow. And, I was sending somebody something today and just thinking, there's many perspectives to look at on what happened with this situation. And ultimately, I believe there will be people who get to the bottom of it, who are investigative, and that's their journey.
Right.
That's not my particular journey, but I support that journey entirely. I think it needs to be investigated. I think the truth does need to come to light. But I think for all of us lay people that aren't necessarily, I don't have my foot on the ground, I'm not involved in the case.
Yeah.
What can I do?
It's not your area.
Right. It's not my area. I can put my energy towards the positive of like, what do we want to see? And that's really what this is about. And often I've told people, and they're like, well, is that you only pray 2 days a week? I'm like, or oh, well, I'm praying every day. Good. Yay. I'm praying every day too. So to be clear, this is about collective prayer. So what's cool is that even though we're all praying every day, I'm praying, you're praying, we're all praying intermittently at different times, and we're not piggybacking on any collective energy. So our prayers are all going out there. But this is about like focalizing on one thought, one particular thing specific to the Hawaiian Islands, specific. You can see, for those of you listening, see us platinum orb of light like encircling the whole island chain. Like you can start it at Maui and like a ball of light under the ocean and above Maui, and then circle it out to the Hawaiian Islands and see all of it circled in God's love, God's light, the Christic light, however you speak or talk. And, just want to say this out there. I did run into someone who's like, well, what God is this for? And I'm like, well, just for God. Like, love God. And they're resistant. And I just want to say, no matter what you believe, I believe there's only one God. So it doesn't matter what you call it. It's only one God. And the Christic light, Christ, Jesus Christ, however you want to speak in your framework, I choose to go to different frames like source or light, but ultimately a vibration is what we really, really, when we distill it to the God, Ja, Allah, Abba, Ya, so we have this, the So if we distill it to that, so no matter what you believe, I love you. And I pray that we all come into unity and love for one another, and that no matter, even if someone doesn't believe what we want, or we think they're not where they should be, or whatever, is that just know that God will get them there, and that they're all connected to God. We're all connected to God, and we're all right on our own journey getting to God, and that all paths actually lead to God. It's just one mountain, and there's the top, and we're all getting there in different directions, but it all goes to God. It's God, and everything's going to come home to God. So none of us have to worry. We get to let go and trust the infinite source, and just be in gratitude for that.
I've been hearing some very positive stories firsthand from people who are looking at how we can all be more sustainable, that we can grow our own food. And there was someone talking, I was shocked that NPR let him go on so long, but this was a local man who grew up on the islands, and he was saying he's built hundreds of homes over his life, but only one is permitted because it's such a fiasco to get a permit to build a home, and it costs so much more money to do it that way. And just the fact that he was talking about that and saying, we need to find ways of doing housing where it's quick and it's affordable and not jumping through all these hoops. And then someone else was talking about having the intention of growing thousands of pounds of food in the next 6 months.
Yes, I think a lot of people. I've definitely been in my community and my normal conversations through the day outside of my spirit work have really been focused on this:
the food,
water, energy.
Yeah.
Do you have water systems? Do you have food growing? I really like a lot of plants that everyone should have in their yard are like spinaches, shias, things that like leafy greens that grow, tubers. Things that you can cut if you just need them, famine foods.
Yeah.
Like those are really good to have for us here in Hawaii. We all have the capacity to really grow that stuff. And water systems and backup energy. And then also, we touched on this last week, but and I haven't yet really gotten this together, but I'd like to, which would be more of that community, like connecting. I know people are in small pods all connecting, and there are that. Like I have that with a small pod. You probably have small pods. But more collective pods of just who knows what, who does what, and being more organized with that. So just to all of our community leaders out there who are really more versed in that linear and kind of organizational, I think that's really an awesome place to look and for us to go. And also, if there's any of you out there who are politicians or attorneys or have real knowledge that could be useful in these investigative processes or in providing resources or providing ways to, like Eila was just talking about, we need people to navigate and destructure, demobilize, or whatever, deconstruct the system of how we build houses, permits, what the requirements are. We need to make less restrictions, not more. And we need people in those arenas who are knowledgeable, who can really create in those ways. So, as we're moving into this new earth, I feel like we're all finding ways that we can serve and what we feel really called to. And I want to just impart that may we all listen to your call. Listen, like you're like, gosh, I never really felt like I should do that, but you're really feeling it now. Follow it. Like listen to that heart. Because another thing I really feel like is important as we move forward, and I touched on this in my video, is moving together in networks and unity and teams. Like we're not alone. We've always been like loners up till now and in competitive models. And we're moving into supportive, compassionate models, collaborative models. So we really need each other. We can't do it all myself. I can't take, Joe Blow from 0 to 100 by myself.
Right.
We get to take them together. We get to piggyback on projects. We get to say, hey, Eila's great at that part. She'll do this. I'll do this. Like that flyer, Pamela, I'm like, Pam, you do that. I'll do this.
Yeah.
We'll do different stuff. We can't all do everything. We get to work together and we get to create from more of this expansive model, which allows us all a lot more freedom. It also brings you out of ego. See, to bring into the fifth dimensional frequencies of the round table, we have to have healed our trauma, because you can't sit at the round table and be insecure thinking about yourself when we're just trying to get something done in the middle of the table.
Well, on the flip side of insecurity is so secure that I can do it. I've had such a mentality of I got it, I can do it, I don't need any help for most of my life. And recently I've been doing some deeper work, and in that process I'm like, I can't get to this stuff by myself. I need somebody to work with me to get there, and it's okay.
Yeah, we're not.
It's okay.
We all need help, and we all do need help. Where you read that on the flyer, where two or more are gathered, it shall be done. If something, I always thought of it, if something got on me, or it's on me, and I can't. I mean, if it's there, I obviously need help. It got on me. It's hard to get off yourself. It's like, imagine trying to pull a knife out of your back.
Right, like if you had something in your back, you need somebody to help you with that.
Yeah, you just need a friend.
I think the show has been really good for me in coming and having an intention and then seeing where it goes and doing it together. If I was doing it by myself, it would be a very different experience.
What would you talk about with yourself?
Well, I can talk for a few minutes by myself, but that would be a long hour for the listeners too. So
well, I really too enjoy this. See, we spark each other, and that's what's great about reflections. And that's what reflections are all doing in general, no matter who they are. And that's why usually your partners are usually the hardest reflections, because it's going to bring up all of your really inner stuff.
Right.
That's why it reflects and it's difficult. When you get to come in, like, Eila and I, we get to have these fun reflections. We're not in the path together.
We're in for an hour.
Yeah, we don't bring up each other's deepest triggers,
Yeah.
because we're not in that kind of partnership. But we get to instead reflect and spark and have this like, ooh, yes, and like spark and lift each other and vibrate different things. Just like water. And again, I'm going to remind us too, another thing we can all do is pray on water. We can send our loving energies to the water you drink, to the water we're putting in our bodies, to the water of our own body. And if you are connected to the waters, the oceans, the lakes, if you have waterways by your home, if you're by streams, if you feel the call of water, praying your crystalline structure, seeing, like, remember Dr. Emoto's work, and he did these beautiful of love and the crystalline structure. So imagine putting a jar of water and putting love on it, or the health of Maui, the health of Hawaii, protection.
Wellness,
you can put words and let it sit on the water, and then take that water, pray on it yourself, and go pour it in the ocean. Go pour it in a waterway. Go drink it into your own body. But when we're healing something, pour it into the oceans. I've been taking water down to the sea and with prayers, and I had a beautiful group of us after we drum and danced.
I love that idea.
On Sunday, I had 7 days of water and prayers that I was seeping with different things. I did one with a meditation that I seeped the meditation into it, and did a few different things. Anyway, on Sunday, 7 days later, I had all the jars, 3 jars, and we put 1 jar into the center of the dance and drum, and I told everyone what was happening, and we all infused the water. And it was so cool. There was these little kids there, this like 2-year-old, who kept picking up the jar and just shaking it and loving it.
Aww.
And I was like, yes, you could just feel them infusing the beauty of God and Source right into the water, their magical little self. And then the 2 kids and 3 of us women went down to the water afterward, and we all took a jar and flowers, and we all poured into the water and did this little ceremony and breathed together, and it was really quite beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
there's something anybody can do.
We're all powerful. We're all powerful, and you don't need to call someone or get on a workshop or do anything.
Right.
And less of that, I mean, I'm all here for like helping people. I work with people all the time. Like Eila said, no man's an island. We need each other.
Yeah.
But
there's things you can do
but there's
also.
so much you can do on your own, and you need less than you think. We need, like, I need you to help me pull this off. Once I get it off, okay, let me go work it out now for a while. And then I'll come back if I need something else, kind of thing. Because you're working it out. You're a divine creator connected to God. So we have infinite source energy flowing through us. And the more you activate that, speak it to yourself, infuse it. Praying on water helps you too, because you're going, I'm a divine creator. And yes, what I say matters. And this love is intentional. And gosh, I can do this. So you're empowering yourself and empowering the water. And really, when you think about it, I listened to this beautiful talk, and it's on Pam Gregory's channel, who is really a phenomenal astrologer. She's masterful in that department. But she's been doing a lot of talks with various people, and I can't remember his name. I think it's Duff. No, not that guy. It's called Alchemizing the Waters. And it was interesting because I was told to do the prayer for the waters, and then I've stumbled on that talk, and he's all about the waters and prayer for the waters. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is totally it. I'm totally being led. This is so it. So it was really pivotal talk to listen to, and if this sparks you, I suggest finding it at Alchemizing the Waters, Pam Gregory. It's a pivotal, and it really he touches on how we used to think, the healing waters, right? We used to refer to water in that way. These healing, and then we put it into pipes, right?
Yeah.
And then it became the, water.
Yeah.
And now we've now it's H2O. It's not the healing
Mm-hmm.
waters, and we don't refer.
We don't look at it
and
that
now
way.
it's enslaved in plastic, actually,
Yeah.
sent all over the world.
Yeah.
Right?
It's enslaved. That's a great way to look at it.
It really is.
Yeah.
So it's enslaved in plastic and sent all over. So
Makes me thirsty.
We get to change. So I've been thinking about this
Mm.
and changing my own relationship to how I hold water, how I use water.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you think of how many times you use water,
Yeah.
like all the moments that I'm with water and my interpretation of water and restoring kind of my own holiness and healing properties to all the water. Because when you really distill it down, think about it, we are almost completely
We're
water.
so much water in
Everything
us,
is
yeah.
water. And it's really about toxins getting into the water. If you can poison the template, you saw Dr. Emoto's work, it turns into a blob or it's a crystalline structure. We are crystalline beings, so the whole point is for you to cleanse the waters and have a crystalline structure in the waterways, which manifests the crystalline template of the new earth, which is our pristine living waters.
Speaking of water, we're going to take a water break and come right back with some more intuitive talk story. Please stay tuned.
Are you prepared for the next fire? The Waimea Hub is sponsoring the Waimea Fire Prevention and Resilience Fair on Saturday, September 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The event will be at the Mana Christian Ohana Kahilu Town Hall. All are invited. More than 20 community partners will be sharing their expertise on wildfire prevention and resilience. The event will be free and family-friendly. Door prizes will include a weed whacker to help keep down dry grasses, a fire and waterproof go kit to store your most important documents, and a sampler of healthy, shelf-stable edibles to have on hand in case of emergency. Again, the Fire Prevention Fair is Saturday, September 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Mana Christian Ohana Kahilu Town Hall. Mahalo.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
The Kohala Night Market returns on Wednesday, September 6th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Resilience Hub Barn. The theme this month is Country Pride. Come dressed in your best Western attire. The community is invited to shop locally produced food and crafts, and food trucks will be cooking up some local grinds. That's the Kohala Night Market on Wednesday, September 6th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Resilience Hub Barn. See you there.
Well, welcome back to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala Intuitive Talk Story here live August 30th, 2023 with Eila Allgood and
Michál Anna.
And we are happy to be here. If you have any questions or comments, call at 808-884-5657. Let's see, I have my cell phone. If you have anything you want to say, send me a text. I'm not going to give all those numbers. That we'll be here all day giving numbers. So we were talking about water and healing waters. And I think looking at all waters as healing waters is just feels like a higher vibration to me.
Yeah, and so these are things we can really resonate on instead of putting and so bottom line, back to kind of the beginning of the loops and the pain and releasing. What would be really debilitating is for us to feel separated again like we did and buy into that story and buy into the separation and hopelessness and oh no, and it's so horrible. And it is
Right.
not to say that what's happening, and for some people are experiencing a lot of horror, loss of life. People don't have homes. We need to help them as much as you can. There is a Lahaina underscore Ohana underscore Venmos is a place you can direct donate to people's direct Venmos, families who are in need. All of us can do that. All of us need to be helping as much as possible because we can't really rely on these bigger organizations to do that for our own people here. So that's one note. But on the of what we do, what we can, give what you can, do what you can, and then let yourself focus your energies on healing your own story, releasing any threads that are connected to this pain, and then focalizing your energy into the creation of the new earth and into what we want. And what that means, I say the new earth, I mean the place of resonance of cooperation, where we're moving into this higher realm of compassion and love, the field of unity and love, where our foundation is embrace, togetherness, unity, this place we're speaking of. So that means we have cooperative systems, we have people in health, we have people being taken care of, we have systems and structures in place which support all life and aren't just conditional to one sect or one group of life. We care for all beings and all people and all things on this planet, and we treat it all with love and respect. So we're creating a new paradigm that hasn't really been here for a while. So we get to hold that paradigm, and many of you are holding it and are living it and are doing it and are experiencing it. So it's just another outward expression of what we get to help infuse it is by, okay, now let's expand our creative powers to now see, just we each focus a little more on the breath, on the air, on the water being clean, seeing everything cleansed, seeing as we look at ourselves and we know that we're actually cleansing the whole of the earth because we're a reflection. We're in the earth template. We're actually helping the earth lift up as we let go of our stuff and empty our bowl of rocks, so to speak. We get to become lighter, and we don't have to take this stuff with us. We release the story and go, right, that was really horrific, eh? Okay, throw it. Let's go, man. And now let's go. We go forward. We're like, it's the light. What do we want? What do we want to do? What are we creating? What are we making happen? That's where we want to go. So we're putting our energy there into that place. And all of us do that through our water, through our prayer, through what you're eating, through what you're resonating. But these are great ways for us to just start feeling really empowered that what you're doing something. If you're like, God, you feel helpless? No, you're not helpless. Go pray on some water right now, take it down to the ocean and put it in there and see the new earth being manifest. See everything that's not serving being transmuted to light, to its other side and rightful place in the light. See nothing having power here. This earth belongs to God, to the infinite source. It is no longer held captive, technically speaking, and many things are just stubborn. So they all need to go home. So let us claim that together in unity.
As you're talking about creating and imagining, it sparked me in thinking about, well, what does that even look like? What does a new earth look like? And sometimes it's hard to know hard to see or imagine what you've never seen or imagined or you've never lived before. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was sharing that I had an idea for some kind of this wellness center thing. And I said, it's a lovely idea, but it's based on what I know. And it isn't taking into account what I want. To me, the ultimate creativity is to create from everything what I don't know. That's the beauty. The real beauty of creativity is to come up with new concepts that haven't been done, that we haven't seen before, that's right?
Yes, and okay, this is awesome.
You're getting excited.
Yeah, because I feel like, okay, in order to do that, this kind of goes back to what we were saying about being at the round table and humility and surrender. We can't create from the old mind. So I can't think about, well, I'm going to open a business and I'm going to do it this way, because that's the old mind.
Yes.
It's the old paradigm.
Yep.
That's not how we do things. So you're right, we don't have a model. So what we have to do is be willing to let go of the model entirely and go, you know what, I really don't know. I really don't know what's best. So I'm going to surrender and go to humility and go to what the feeling is. What do we want to feel? I want to feel, just seeing the feeling of the people, feeling happiness, feeling joy, feeling support. People are resonating about money. They're not thinking about survival. They're not thinking our true nature is just to think about your growth. Like you have actually a lot of money in your Social Security. There's all sorts of things that gets into technical things in this particular incarnation, where if you want to go into like sovereignty and blah, 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 which I've not done, but in that department, but there is in the finance department, but there's a lot there. And it's metaphoric also because you're just claiming your own sovereignty in yourself, and you're allowing yourself to move into greater knowingness and embodiment.
Well, and creating the feelings is what you're saying, which it's like we have these structures, nonprofit, profit. That's how things
Yeah,
run.
we don't want to think about it like
And
that.
and we're in part of creating, to me, creating new is, okay, we want to have a feeling of equity. We want to have a feeling of freedom. We want to have a feeling of everybody has enough food. We want abundance. So it's kind of looking at what are the feelings and the experiences we want without putting them in a box.
Exactly.
Forget the old boxes.
Yes, forget the boxes.
Yeah.
And then
I
we
get
have
excited
to
about
look.
that.
Yeah, and then in order to look at the feeling, then that's where the humility and surrender comes in, because I go, not of my will, but divine will. I really
Right.
don't know. Lead me and let the heart of God show me what's like. And you're like, really, that? I should try that. Wow, that seems weird. Okay, I guess I'll do it. So we often, when we really get into the heart of God, sometimes you're like, that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to. Sometimes it might feel like that. So if we're really listening, we just allow to give up what we think because we don't know. And it has been an old paradigm, and we're mostly operating from those. That's what I really love about
Old
travel.
systems, yeah.
For me, like spending 7 winters in Africa has really changed my perspectives because I realized, a few years in, I have no reference points. Like we do nothing the same. There's no reference points. Society is not set up the same way at all. Like there's so much you take for granted in that.
Yeah.
Like we understand a lot of stuff that we don't
right,
talk
like,
about.
Like language and comments
And stoplights and stop signs and
Yeah.
and a million things
Yeah.
that you and I have agreed on in our society.
right, because
None of those things.
we've experienced them differently.
Our society experiences it to us.
Right.
We live in a certain society, and we have a framework that we were grown in and programmed with. Well, those people do not have that same framework. It's completely different, which is really interesting.
That really stretches your mind.
It does.
Yeah.
Because you realize it's literally felt like to me like another planet.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, I'm on a different planet. Like this feels, nothing's the same. Like the way they do it, what their foundation is, what they believe in, how they believe, what they're going from, all of it's different. So in doing that, you give up other things because you realize, well, actually it doesn't have to be the way I've known then because they're not doing that.
And they're doing just
and
fine.
they're fine. They're doing something totally
in
different.
fact, they look kind of happy.
Yeah. So I guess there's more than one way to do something, ain't there?
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
to see there's a lot of different ways to do something. And so we let go of it having to be a certain way. And back to that all paths lead to God. We surrender and then allow God and our true heart to actually guide us, which is that asking of the Holy Father, Holy Mother, really embodying our true harmonic union within the self and surrendering that, let me be led and let the heart of God navigate this whole system. So your whole chakra system is being navigated, technically speaking, by your heart of God. Like the brain can think a lot, thinking, but it's not thinking on its own, deciding stuff. The heart of God's going, hey, what do you think about, like, ponder on this particular thing. Boom, use it for that. It's a processor. It's not like going off wild on its own. See, and that's kind of what AI is, isn't it? It's like a processor of the brain that went off on its own with no heart. Oh, wow, that's kind of interesting.
There's a moment.
Wow, that's kind of cool because it is a 2-part versus 3-part, which is no heart. So it's like AI went off on a tangent in its head and lost the heart, and that's how it became AI. Siri. Anyway, so that kind of goes into a 2-part, into the 3-part, which I brought up before, but that you're in birth of, you come through the waters as you're birthed here. We go through fire in this Vesica Pisces, this 2-part system, the two interlocking circles. That's like we birth into this system of pain, basically. This duality is pain. Okay, so we have to birth through fire and water. The clock turns, goes upright. We go into mastery. Once we birth through the fire, Then through the waters, we then move into mastery into our heart, which creates that third circle above those two. Now that's where God lives. Right now we're talking about moving out of duality and out of the cycles of pain, but into the cycles of unity, which is where we have to create from. So we don't want to create based on this two-part system. We want to create outside of that. So we have to really go, we don't know. Let's ask God. Let's just allow that infinite
It's kind of an
inspiration.
allowing, yeah, and it brings me to channeling.
Yeah, allowing of source.
And
through you.
it brings me to, because when I think about like gathering, say, 10 people together to talk about some of what we're talking about, I get stressed right away because who's going to be the loudest in the room and whose ideas are this. But if you go into a space of channeling where you're not, kind of what we do here half the time, you're in that allowing.
You hit it on the head. You're not operating from your mind.
No.
People come to a meeting from their head, which is what I'm telling you. You come to the round table from the heart of God.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to meditation, but you're going to a meeting.
And you might talk.
You
and
might
you might
talk.
not. You might just be holding the space for the group that day. You
But
may
we're
not
literally moving in the meeting from the heart of God.
Yes.
That's it. See,
Yes.
that's your
That
foundation.
is totally different. I'm loving that
Yes.
idea.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And you would want to be called to it. Like it's not something that everybody's going to want to participate in. And it honestly, depending on the day, sometimes we're not in the space to totally let go and let God come through.
Well,
So-
you will be eventually always in the space.
Oh, yeah,
to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but fielding yourself, but we're all, I think you don't have to worry about where anything for anyone, because if you're really listening to the heart of God, you're just being led wherever you need to be. And it doesn't really matter where anyone else is, actually. You're just
No.
going to be right where you need to be because you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be right here. Well, I was led here. That's how it is a lot for me. I'm just walking around being led. And then, and here this happens. And a client I just worked with today, she was led to a store who was, thank you, Lila, gave her a name. And she found me. And then she just, she was led. Fine. It's all magical.
Right.
When you allow yourself to get away from your head and think you have to figure it out. Well, it should be this. Well, if we could figure out this way, it should be 2 steps to the right and then over the section.
Yeah.
See, that's that thinking mind, which is the mental. So we're moving into the heart. Your heart of God is your foundation. It leads the game. Surrender is our key.
And it's so much easier.
Yeah, it is.
Because
It's so
there's
much more fun. Pressure. The pressure's off.
The pressure's
I don't have
off.
to know anything.
Right.
I just I don't know, give thanks and praise. I don't know, God, what do you think? You know what? It's not my highest good. I can't go. Sorry. Oh, it's in my highest good. I'll be there. I'd love to go because I want to have fun wherever I go, and I'm going to have fun. So we're going to have a great time. Give thanks and praise.
Yeah. And if you're not called, you don't go. And if you're called, you go.
Just listen to your own guidance.
And maybe there's something you want to say, and maybe you just kind of hang back. It's all good.
Ooh, and I want to bring up one quick thing.
Yeah.
Eila brought up the word channeling. I just want to say for everyone out there, channeling can mean a few different things. Some people actually channel entities, like they channel a spirit or a Ramtha or a specific thing.
Yes, they do.
And that typically is what channeling means. So word-wise, just for clarification, I think what Eila's really referring to is allowing her own connection to source. So she's not talking about channeling an entity.
Right. It's more allowing.
So
Yeah.
really what you're talking about for your own, maybe like just for
Language,
so it's not,
yeah.
so it's not confusing, is that you're talking about drawing into the field of unity and connecting to the heart of God and allowing your own divine inspiration to move through you. Like I really love the image of, Michelangelo said, the David was there, I just set him free.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
he
found it.
He just found him. He was just being in the inspiration of God. That's art.
Yeah.
That's what art is. That's what, I'm getting chicken skin. That's what music is. That's a passion. That's a dance. We're abandoning your mind and you're being led by the spirit. When I'm dancing, I am freer than anywhere else I am. That's why I love to dance. Because it's just like so freeing and I just feel spirit moving me. It's like something you can't even explain. Surfing, there's many of us, you have
Many ways
your
to do
thing.
that,
There's
yeah.
many ways to get to God, right? But that place where you're just in the zone, that's that place, right? And you aren't thinking. You're
Right.
connected to source. That's what she's referring
Yeah.
to, not like channeling an entity or, giving up your sovereignty to somebody else or calling in a being. We're not promoting calling in any
Well,
beings.
that's true, because even the highest vibrational beings are still, we're still looking outside of ourselves when we do that.
Well, you're really instead calling in the source, which is the field. If you think of like there's only one God, like ha, and you're just getting a direct line to that, and we're all getting a direct line to that. Like think of it like I just have a direct source connect, and I like to take less things out of there, and than more, because it's just keep it simple. Just ha, it's God, love, source, Christ. However you pray, I mean, do your thing, but also know some words can be. We're inverted. You can check this out. This one might be really, I'm going to throw it out there. Some of you might not like this. But this is an inverted, what I have come to realize is a very inverted word. The word amen. And boy, have we all used that a lot, me and myself included. So I really have been working at not utilizing that word. Like we want to say like, go sister, amen. I
Yeah.
want to do that. Like, oh, amen. But
Yeah.
mm-mm. So it is. Oh, yes. Those are some replacements. Because amen is actually, from my understanding at this point, it is actually an inversion which siphoned energetics, because language is power. You're creating your vibratory being of infinite light. So when you speak, you are spelling, you're creating and throwing spells. And amen was back to Amun-Ra back in the Egyptian days. And it was an inversion to everything that we did to go siphon to him. To siphon to him for power. So it's like you say your prayer and then it siphons off to him.
Right.
Say your prayer and it goes off to the
No,
siphon.
we don't want that to happen.
So it's
Yeah.
actually like, play with it. If you're like, oh, that's crazy, just play with it. See for yourself. I'm not telling you, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing what I see.
Yeah, no, I can resonate with that. Yeah. I usually like to end without that word, something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I really love and so it is. That's really simple, and so it is, or and so let it be done, and
I like
a lot of people
aho.
like aho. I love that
like
too.
that,
Aho, because it has that vibration.
Yeah.
And when you think of
And it's just a sound, it's not a word of any meaning.
right,
Yeah.
and actually back to that sound and vibration, which. If you haven't checked out that talk that Eila and I did on resonance and words, that was really fun. And it is about distilling the sounds back to what their original meanings are. English is a pretty dead language. It was contrived, so it doesn't have the resonance that like aloha has, right? So aloha, all those sounds we just said, aho, are in there. Aloha, those same resonances. So you can see that the base creational tones that we really distill things back down to the heart. So you're getting to the root of everything. So if you think in general, treat not the symptom of life, but go to the root. Get to the root. Pull it when you're weeding. You don't just keep cutting the tops. You'll be doing that every
Some
week.
of us do.
Some of us do. Cut the grass. We cut the grass, right? But
Yeah.
if we go pull at the root, then we get to actually plant something new.
That's right.
And that's kind of the goal, is to create this new reality that all of us have signed up, and especially if you're listening, right? You've signed up for, is we've just signed up to hold the energy and to lift this earth system into a higher vibratory field. And when I say the word grid, you can think of this like contour lines of pockets where there's more density, and then it's like on a map of a hills or something. We're lifting places that were more dense with your energy, and the more Eila and I sitting here, we're lifting this little pocket in our, this little area. We're all doing something together. We lift the energies little by little. We're creating more resonance and more vibration, and it ripples out, because all of us do make a difference, and you are deeply important. I'm just one person. I mean, Eila's just one person.
Yeah.
And I love that Margaret Mead quote. It can never, it's so great. And never forget that a small group of dedicated citizens can change the world, because indeed it is the
Yeah.
only thing it ever has.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of the concept of clearing and cleaning. I was the other day, I had a really, really, really up day. Like from the time I got up till the time I went to bed, I just felt like there were so many amazing moments in the day. And I woke up the next day and I felt nothing. I felt I felt like zero. And I was judging it as kind of like, I'm having this is weird. Why am I like this today? And I decided to clean my car, which I haven't ever done like this. It was 3 hours. I just took all morning to do it. And there was something very meditative. Once I got out of judgment, I was like, it is what it is. Yesterday was great, and that was yesterday. Today, this is what's here, and this is what I'm doing. And there is this, there was this feeling of just that moment by moment clearing, cleaning, and it was a physical cleaning, but it was more than that. I kind of felt like I had cleared a lot of what I needed to clear in my energy. And in talking about having these moments of creativity, it's so valuable to clear whatever might be in the way of that, whether it's physical or on an energy level. Well, everything is energy, but to clear if there's something, if I'm struggling with something, if I'm judging something, if I'm in my head about something, that by clearing that, then I make myself that clear vessel so I can get whatever is there to get from divine source.
Absolutely. That's what I was actually doing before I got here. I was working in session, and that's about clearing. Clearing stuff and then removing. So my experience is that we all have different gifts, and like I have a colleague who does different types of clearing than I do, and I kind of noticed when we've worked together that then I'm kind of on the back end, like cleaning up stuff, like taking hardware off and like, oh, now I'll pull this stuff off. Okay. So we all have different jobs to do, kind of, so to speak. And you can just intentionalize to cleanse my aura, cleanse my fields, and cleanse and just sit there, just guides, spirit, God, however you speak, cleanse my field, and intentionalize it and sit and enjoy it like a shower. And also lining up your 6 bodies. So your 6 how we kind of get out of, you kind of think, I feel out of it, I'm not really here, that kind of stuff. It's because you're probably hovering. Our spirit energies, we leave these bodies. If we're not in healthy vessels, if we're not happy, if things are happy, we often will just shoot out of them because it's not comfortable. So you want to get yourself in the body, which in order to get in the body, you might have to make that body comfortable. It might have to clean it up a little bit so that your spirit wants to be in there, A, right? And then B, checking, am I in here and am I lined up? Am I jolted to the right or left? Like my physical body's here now, my mental body, is that all lined up with my heart? So take like a center point, my heart, let's line everything up from the heart. So you see in your mind's eye your mental body, then see your emotional body. The emotional one can tend to leave a lot because we're very sensitive. It doesn't stay in there enough. So getting your emotional body lined in, right? Etherical, physiological, psychological, spiritual bodies. So you line those up, and now you're in your vessel, right? Now I'm here. I can run the energy through my vessel because I'm here in charge of it. That's why the tools are so valuable, and we haven't touched on much of that today, but we have lots of shows that do. Please check it out on using tools daily. And visit my channel as well for tools, Michal. And Michal, But yes, there's that's why we do those. So you're cleansing, fielding, releasing, and then those of you who are doing this work all the time, you already probably know it's layers.
Yeah.
You get a layer off, you sloth off a layer, and you're like, wow, that feels amazing. And you do kind of need to integrate, which is, I think, what you're talking about, integration. You've been working with a lot of stuff. Now you just need to like integrate, and sometimes we just need to like, I just need to like lay here.
Just let it be.
Just do something. I love cleaning too. It's very meditative for me. Gardening, working outside. These like really beautiful, just taking care of activities are nurturing for the earth, for ourselves, cleansing your mind, body, spirit kind of energy. So you cleanse and integrate. And then if you feel like people are like, oh no, my leg hurts. So another reminder, when pain comes up, layers, again, a pain might come up because it's actually a layer being revealed, and it may not be anything to do with right now. I felt like I was going to lose my knee yesterday, but it was actually a layer that I pulled off, and it was amazing. And like, it's a whole new thing, and that it no longer hurts at all. And, but for a second it felt really scary almost. And so it's literally like noticing, taking nothing serious and not holding on to it, knowing everything's temporary. Okay, this is just showing me something. It's not like, oh no, which is what we kind of have been told to do. Like, oh no, is something wrong with you? You better call somebody. You better take a
You
blah,
go
blah,
get
blah.
help
You
from
better
somebody
go
else.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Instead, when you feel something, go inside.
Yeah.
What is this? And let me let it go. Let me field into it. Don't go into panic or fear, but instead embrace. We embrace, what is this showing me? Here again is my opportunity to heal. And as I heal my pain, then I get to come back into that beautiful cycle. I slough off another layer, and we move into more and more of this cleansing Christic light as you are patient with the self, gentle with the self, doing each layer and allowing more grace, more surrender, more humility to just breathe through the being, and allowing truly our resonant Holy Mother, Holy Father energies to be in the upright position in our bodies, running these vessels. I really have felt that, because I've been receiving my own beautiful things, and I'm so very grateful to the Holy Mother. And I've been really just feeling how part of so much of the pain we've experienced was because the Holy Mother was gone. And I've talked about that before, but like we just had the revelation of there's nobody out there. You can have a revelation again and again and again. I had another revelation around that, like, oh my gosh, but really, the Holy Mother was gone. And that's why all of us, it was like taken from us. We literally haven't been connected to the energy of the Holy Mother. We've all been in our distorted, inverted places of masculine and upside down feminine, and it's been all jumbled, and we haven't had great role models for any of it. And so we really have to embrace the Holy Mother, which takes some effort actually, and to bring it in and to animate the Holy Mother energy. And the aquamarine light is so helpful for that. I do have a meditation I just put out around this. If you are interested, check it out. But yeah, this is like really coming as a revelation for me in my own retrievals and imparting of this magnitude of this. It's really the compassion that then we get to hold for the pain that's happened here on this planet. And ultimately speaking, all of us on the path to unity get to hold everything here. It's all just Kolohe children that have forgotten who they are, all separation, all minions, all things that have been enslaved. Everything truly does want to go home. And it's really about holding that compassionate heart that everything, we forgive everything. That even those that have oppressed you, that have killed you, that have destroyed you, you forgive them too, for they know not what they do, for they are just children who have forgotten their own light.
Aho.
Yes. So we get to all go home to the light. Nobody's left, but nobody's left behind. And
nobody's left behind.
And they aren't, because we're all one with God, and everyone is worthy.
Well, and you shared about your own thing right now about the Holy Mother, and it's really valuable for you to share that, because we model for each other and we introduce things to one another. Like, that's not terminology I've ever used, Holy Mother. I'm like, what the heck is she talking about? I can guess what that might be, but I'll look at that.
So,
I'll look at what that is.
To expand a little more, I think of the Holy Trinity. If we think of that as the Holy Omega, the divine feminine, the divine mother of life, and that all the qualities that are inherent in that, which are really more about connection to God, intuitiveness, patience, humility, the internal yin. We have different words for it: yin, omega.
I think the divine feminine really triggers something for me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
for sure.
It definitely wakes me up. It's like, yep, I get that.
And then on the other side of that, Holy Father, holy or divine masculine, or alpha, or yang. And that's our directive and our shining out there and really bringing it out. And, I myself have run my yang really well in my life.
Well, I think our society has run its yang very
well.
It
runs a lot of yang. and a lot of, that's why I love dance, and I love teaching women and men, but I love teaching salsa specifically because you're having to drop into your feminine.
Yeah.
And it was a great help for me in letting go and just, okay, I get to be led. And that, as most women in America are really powerhouses, and they're all strong, amazing, and ollied, you know, and you're like, you
Yeah.
have to let go and just be fabulous and beautiful and
Yeah.
just enjoy, which is a really strong meditation for a woman, a powerful woman. So come out and dance. It's good for you. But then on the other end of that, just the last to kind of wrap it up here is divine masculine feminine is just really coming into this balance within ourselves of these beautiful qualities and seeing the energies of like see the beautiful mothering loving woman that we didn't really have as a role model because we've kind of had the Baphomet like slut or the like, you know, those
Yeah.
have been our role models. So this holy mother image is really around the upright version of true woman, true femininity, and true embrace and compassion, which is what we need here now as we move forward, is to embrace our own love, compassion, and connection to source in a greater way. So that's what I impart to you today. And thank you so much for listening and being with us here today. to
Thank you,
experience it.
Michál. Have a beautiful day, everyone. And we'll be back in October.
Right, you're going to be
Yes.
gone.